What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. I'm your host, Stizzle Speaks. I'm happy to be here today with Eugene. We're going to be talking about the Airbnb game. And I've been waiting for this episode actually because I'm super interested in knowing, because you see this everywhere on social media right now. There's so many people talking about this Airbnb play. So I'm excited to talk to Eugene today about how he got into the game, what he's doing right now to be super successful in the business, but also help other entrepreneurs that are looking to get into this space. So welcome, Eugene. How are you?
Man, I'm doing amazing.
Good, good. Thank you for being here. Happy
No, it's a
Tuesday.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit, who's Eugene? Give us a little bit of your background, where you came from and how you got into this Airbnb space.
Well, 100%, man. 100%, man. First off, I definitely want to thank you for inviting me on. You and Brandon as well, too, man. You guys do a phenomenal job. Heard a lot of great things about you guys. But what kind of got me in the space? You know who I am. I always tell people I'm a regular individual. I didn't come from money. I grew up here in South Florida, in Miami, Florida, and where we kind of struggled. Went through a lot. My family grew up on welfare. My mom passed away when I was 9 years old. So I just really had to figure things out when I was really young. So I thought going to college and getting a college degree and getting a job was going to be the answer. But guess what? It wasn't.
Right.
I was struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, and I say, you know what? Like, this 9 to 5 life ain't for me. I got to figure something out. So that's when I tapped into entrepreneurship. It's kind of crazy how I got into the space where I'm at now. My very first business, which I started in 2010, was I was actually in a car business. So I had that first business for about maybe 5 years. And then I transitioned to what I do now. But I wanted to have more freedom. When you reach a certain level in your business, you begin to say, okay, well, this is great. I'm making money, but do I have freedom? Right? Because it gets to a point where you're not after the money, you're after the freedom. So I wanted to get into something that provides me the freedom. And then that's how I kind of transitioned to what we do now in the short-term rental industry. And, we got into it. I was really thinking, and I want to say like early 2020, like later in 2020, I was thinking of what I said, hey, look, how can I invest money into real estate without having my money tied up for a long period of time, or I can get a quick return on my investment, right? And I said, you know what? Well, what if I learn how to do short-term rental? If I do the rental arbitrage where I don't have to buy the property, I could, rent it and then have permission to rent to somebody else, and then I can make my cash flow quicker, opposed to me putting $20,000-$30,000 down to purchase a house to rent out, or purchase a duplex or investment property to rent out. It may take me 6 months to recoup my investment. So that's what really attracted me to the industry and the game. And then when I was able to learn how to create systems, and that also showed me that I could also have the freedom at the same time. So not only that I can make the cash flow, but then I can have the freedom.
Right. Whoa, there were a lot of good things in there. That was a lot. So I want to kind of unpack that a little bit. And I think the common denominator that I really want to get into very quickly before we talk about the actual strategy and the business is thinking in terms of what you just said in your journey and your path. The common denominator was mindset for me. Like, that's what I gathered. Like, you knew exactly for the most part, what you wanted your life to look like. And you knew what you didn't want, so you had to take action, like, to get to that point, right? Because you're like, hey, I knew 9 to 5, it wasn't for me. I wanted freedom. I wanted time freedom, whether it was to build a family or to just, do what you want to do in terms of travel. So talk to us a little bit about mindset, and what was your mindset in that 9 to 5, then going to auto and being like, you know what, I got to go. Were you just right away that person that was about being an entrepreneur and doing whatever it takes, or did you have to go through the process that some entrepreneurs out here have to go through in terms of reconditioning their mind to say that I'm already winning and I know I'm going to win there further?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's a great question too, by the way. So, and I think a lot of people kind of struggle with, like, you know what, well, should I leave my 9 to 5? Should I pursue business, or should I get into entrepreneurship? And a lot of people kind of struggle with that. For me, what really clicked for me is like, you know what, like, I need to get into entrepreneurship. And what really changed my mindset was because I'm the type of person, I do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, right? I don't like to be fitted into the trend. Like, okay, this is what everybody else, let me do it. So when I wanted to transition to business, a lot of people like, nah, what do you mean business like that? No, you need to work your 9 to 5. That's it. You know what I'm saying? When I told my pops, like, hey, I'm gonna quit my job, do a business on it. What are you talking about? Quit your job? Like, I think to myself, look, pops, I respect you, but I don't respect you take financial advice from you. Because you were struggling, making $30,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck. If I'm taking advice from you, I'm going to have the same results you had. Opposed to me listening to somebody that has the lifestyle and life that I want and the freedom that I want, I'll take advice from that person. So what clicked for me was that I felt like, number one, I was a slave to 9 to 5. right? So obviously you want to make more money, but really think about it. If you're working 9 to 5, you're working about 8 hours a day, 5 days out the week. That's 40 hours a week. You pretty much working your whole life. And I say, man, I really want to have time freedom. And I got tired of being told what to do. I got tired of being told, hey, you got to take lunch at 12 o'clock. What if I don't want to eat at 12? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I just got tired of being controlled. So that stuck with me. So my mind said, like, you know what? I need to have the freedom. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Right. So I'm going to get into business. If it works, it works. If it don't work, oh well. I'm going to keep trying again until it do work. And that was my mindset when I was transitioning. And one thing I want to let people know is embrace your journey where you at, because like even though you're working 9 to 5, that 9 to 5 is there to cover your bills. And then the 6 to 10 after you get off of work is build your empire. So when I was in that phase of building my empire, I was still happy coming to work. Even though I hated work, right?
Right.
I was still happy. The reason why is because I knew that I'm building my empire and one day I'm going to be free to work my business full time. But I knew that I was just like, hey, I got something bigger and plan to wait for me. I'm just going to work 9 to 5, right? I'm happy, but I know where I'm going. So I worked that 9 to 5. And then when I got off of work, I will build my business plan. I'll build my ideas. And I was working on my business part time. And then when I began to make enough, and I tell people this, don't just quit your job yet once you got your business going. Like build up at least 6 to 12 months of saving, because you may have some rainy days. But most people, once they start their business, they quit. And then the business don't take off right away like they expected to. Now they stuck. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So what I did was I still worked my 9 to 5 and I was building my business for 6 to 12 months and making sure I have saving. So when I do become a full-time entrepreneur, I still have reserve in money coming in. But that was my mindset. But really drew the straw for me still, though, was this. When I talked to one of my colleagues and he was like, yeah, I'm about to be here for like another 5 years before I retire. Mine, he'd been working at a job for 14 years as a social worker. 2011, we was only getting paid $14 an hour.
Right.
That's about $28,000 a year. That's before taxes. I'm like, hold on, bro. You telling me you've been here for about 10 years? You probably making may probably give you an extra $2 or $3 more than me. So you probably getting 16, $17, $17 an hour. How can you live off that retirement once you retire, bro? So he was older than me. He was probably like in his late 50s. So I'm like, hold on, bro. I'm going to be just like him, struggling. I said, nah, I got to get to work. I need to get this business up and jumping. But that was a start for me. And that really showed me that, this 9 to 5, it wasn't for me. I wanted to have the freedom and also the income. And I just went to work. But that was my mindset that I had to do whatever it takes. So I become an entrepreneur. And also, I also had to put myself in position to win because I didn't come from money. And that's what I tell people. It's not just about me making money. It's about me helping my family. You understand? So I was thinking about my family as well at the time. Like they may not understand the sacrifice I'm making right now, but later on they will understand.
Right. And I love that you said that because, we're in a time where not a lot of entrepreneurs are having the honest conversations behind if you're in a 9 to 5, it's okay, but have a plan, right? Like have a plan to learn from that 9 to 5, to build the foundation from the 9 to 5 and work on your strategy to build out your business the smart way. And not just saying, no, you have to quit and just go all in. It's your dream. It's your passion. What do you mean? You saying this is what you want, but you're not working hard in it. And there's so many levels to it and so many layers to get to that success level to get all out, right? And once you get all out, it's just really the start, because in the beginning of the journey, it's the peaks and valleys. Like you said earlier, there's days where you don't have income. So now, you got this foundation to pull from if the lights got to be paid or what so have you.
Correct.
So you go through that transitional period in the beginning of entrepreneurship. So I think that was great. So transitioning into getting into the short rental investments, like what was like your first property that you looked to, or where did you go? Because I mean, the most that I know, and that's why this is a great episode for me, is Airbnb. You rent a property on a corporate lease if you can, and then you rent it out to people, and or you buy your own property and then you rent that out to people. So talk to us about the process. What's the difference in the two, and where did you start?
So that's a great question. So I think a lot of people struggle with this when they first start, getting into the business. And that's something I struggle with as well too. But what I did was I did a lot of research, right? Okay, how can I find my very first unit? Rental arbitrage, or I'll purchase a unit. And I decided, hey, I want to do rental arbitrage. Now, how do I do rental arbitrage, right? How do I find a location that allows it? So what I did, I always tell people that want to get into, start in your backyard, start in your local area. So what I did was, because that marketplace really well, where people want to go to, what's popping, what's not popping, what areas, right? So I say, you know what? I know people like to go here, which is in Florida, is West Shore, Tampa, Florida, right? And it's West Shore. A lot of people like to be around there, or they want to be downtown. So I started looking in locations there. So what I did was I hopped on Google. I typed in apartments in West Shore. I made a list of maybe 50 properties, and I will call them, right? And most people, you got to do the groundwork. You got to do the footwork. And a lot of times people want to escape that. Once they get their first no, they quit. Oh, this ain't for me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I made a list of 50 properties, apartment complexes, and I asked them, hey, do you allow short-term rental? Do you allow corporate lease? Do you allow Airbnb, whatever the case may be? And I made those calls until I got a yes. And I had got one location. And that's why I told people the best time to get into the game is where the rental market is really low, when the occupancy rate for apartment complex is really low. And the occupancy rate was really low for a particular one I called. And I'm thinking I'm just going to try to get one unit. I say, hey, can I take a tour? Say, you could take a tour, sure. So I go tour the spot. It was dope. All right, cool. I want to lock one spot in. I want to do at least blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, how many units do you want? I'm like, how much can I get?
Right.
They're like, I'm trying to get one. Like, how many promise you? They're like, how many? I said, how can I get? You could they said like, yeah, show us some proof of income. I said, all right, can you use some bank statements? Because I have my other business. Like, use some bank statements. She's like, yeah, you could get 3. I'm like, 3? I'm like, all right, say no more. So I got my very first time running the play. I got 3 units, right? And I'm like, what the heck am I doing, right? And it was scary and a great feeling at the same time. And we was able to stagger each move in. So I got one move in 1 month, the following month another one, and the other month we did another one. But we got all 3, at that very first location. So it's really getting on the phones. But what you want to do is this: if you know your market, you know what location is popping, and websites that people could use to be able to find locations is Zillow, right? You go to apartments.com. Or you can get in contact with a real estate agent where they have access to a system called the MLS, where they could search all the rentals in their areas, and you can ask them, hey, do you have any landlords that will allow short-term rental? Can you look for some for me? And the great thing about real estate agents is that we don't have to pay the realtor. The landlord will pay them when the lease get done, right? So that some real estate agents would be more than happy to go search a rental for you because they get paid from the landlord, right? And you don't have to pay them. So that's one of the methods that I use as well too, is reaching out to private landlords, and you can use Zillow for that. And most landlords, they'll be happy with you doing it, right? Because they don't want to deal with the headache. As long as you maintain their property, you pay them the rent that they want, you be good to go.
Right. And so thinking about that too, did you, in terms of like a lease, was the lease under your name and you were responsible for these people in these units, or was it under like a business name? Like, how does that process work? Because I'm thinking,
great question. So I got it under my business name.
Okay.
Because what I did was, like I said before, I got into the game. I'm the type of person, like, if I'm going to get into something, I'm gonna give it 150%. That's just how I am. So what I did was I did so much research and studying the game, and I seen a lot of people with horror stories. They'll get the unit under their personal name without the permission of the location, and they'll get kicked out, whatever the case may be. So I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted to figure out what's the right way of me doing it, and that's when I began to research. Okay, corporate leads, get under your business name. So I already have my LLC, my EIN number. So these locations are under our business name.
Gotcha.
That we have. So yeah, we do get them on our business name.
Okay. And so for a short-term rental, do people stay 3 months, 4 months? And what's like the target audience that someone who's looking to get into short-term rental? Should they be looking for like a regular person, like such as myself, or should they be looking to like travel nurses?
Yeah, great question. So, what I tell my mentees is that you should do probably, find a specific niche, right? You could do people that's looking to do, vacation rentals and things like that, staying for a week or 2 weeks for vacation, or you can niche it down. And what I mean by niche it down, you can do travel nurses, just like you mentioned. So we do get some travel nurses that stay. And the reason why I tell people you want to kind of do both, and you may want to do a niche, is because typically those industries that stay for a month, 2 months, you're going to make way more profit, right? Because one, they're staying for a month, we're going to pay you upfront for a full month. So let's say someone's staying for a month. For example, we have someone staying in one of our spots for the whole month. It's $5,000. I want to say about $5,000, right? So we get paid upfront $5,000, opposed to they're paying us for 3 days. They're paying us for 7 days, right? So you get to see your money upfront more, and there's less turnovers, because anytime a guest leaves your location, you got to clean it. So I tell people you should do both. And maybe once you find what you like, or that particular guest or industry, like we like travel nurses because they don't really be there. They just work 16-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, come home and sleep, do all over again the next day. So you don't have to worry about them damaging property or, having a party inside of it. because they're just there to work. Or maybe attracting them, maybe different professionals or business people. And that also come give you guys a gym. It's all about the location where you get your unit at. So if you want to attract travel nurses, start looking for locations or apartments that's near hospitals, right? That's near urgent cares, right? If you want to attract business professionals and travel nurses, you want to get locations near downtown because a lot of business is conducted where? Downtown, right?
Right.
People want to be downtown where stuff is, going on at. So we like to get locations near there where we could attract those individuals, right? As well.
Okay. Wow. I'm like, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me go see what's on MLS. That's good. That's real good. So if I'm someone who wants to keep my units occupied, so say, hey, I'm Eugene, I'm going all in 150%. I got, my 3 contracts, 3 leases, I'm good. All right, cool. Got my first 3 people. Now it's like month 2. How do you find your next person? Like what are your systems that you have in place to make sure you can keep that reoccurring revenue happening?
The systems that we have into place.
Or like how do you find your next leads pretty much like to make
Okay.
sure you can have
So great question. So what we do, what I recommend anyone's getting into it, if you know you're going to be building for a long period of time, you want to create systems. So we have a cleaning team, we have a handyman team that we have that would take care of any repairs and things that need to be fixed. And then also we have a system that's called a PMS system, which is a property management system. Like guess the host away kind of thing of an apartment complex, right? They may have 200 units, 200 tenants. It's very difficult for them to remember all this stuff in their mind or write stuff down. So they have a software. So they have softwares for the short-term rental when you can use host away, guess the hospitable, and it's a software that in sync all of your units off Airbnb. It'll do the communication with your guests. It'll allow you to do communication with your cleaners, your staff. So those are some of the systems that we use. But how do we find our leads? Is that obviously we leverage like Airbnb to do the marketing, but then we also have a direct booking website where people could book directly through you. So you have your own brand. You could make your own website where people could book directly through you, where you get to see more of the profit. Because typically, if you're using third-party platforms like Airbnb and Verbo, they are going to charge a percentage because they do the marketing and all that for you as well too. So you want to begin to build your own database so you could attract your own clientele.
That's good. And I think it's nice for people to hear that in terms of not leaning solely on Airbnb because there is a way to do it on your own and cut out assuming the fees and all that
100%.
website
Yeah.
charges. So that's the difference between going
Yeah.
in, going all in.
Correct. Yeah. So that's what we do as well too. So, and then we get repeat clients. So the biggest thing, what I tell people is make sure you provide your guests a great experience. Make sure the unit is clean, because that way, you get a great review and they may return to you.
And recommend other people.
Yeah, recommend other people
to utilize you. Wow, that's good. What's like one of the things that you can think of in starting out this business that you wish you knew prior to doing it?
Something
that was like a big risk, and you're like, oh shoot, if I only knew that one thing.
Let's see. Just setting up, maybe give myself expectation that a guest can maybe damage your unit, right? Or just do something. Because I had a guest, not my first guest, but maybe 3 months in, I had a guest smoke in the unit. You know what I'm saying? Smoke weed in the unit. I'm like, oh crap, what the heck do I do? Because I didn't have a policy that says, hey, we're gonna fine you $500 if you smoke in the unit. So it didn't deter people away. So we have some smoke weed in the unit, and mind you, this is an apartment complex. There's no smoking community. So I'm like, crap, I'm gonna get fined. I'm gonna get kicked out. So from that experience, I put into my policies of anyone I want to stay. Hey, if you do smoke and we do find you smoking, we're gonna charge you $500, right? So it just deter the smokers away from wanting to smoke in the unit. I wish that's something I knew was set in the policies, so I would deter all the bad people that won't follow rules. Not to book our properties, stay in our properties as well too. But one of the things I did learn okay, well, I don't want to just get stuff under my personal name, and that way I get kicked out, whatever case may be. So that's one of the things I did was I got all my locations under our business name. That was number one. And I want to say, that was like this experience of how do I handle a situation like that, right? And I want to let people know, like, you're going to have problems arise. It is what it is. It's part of the game. But one thing you want to understand is, you have insurance that Airbnb also provides, where if it gets damage to your units, they could, you'll get reimbursed.
Got it. Okay. So in terms of the risk for the business, like, because I know if you're personally, if you get an eviction that goes on
Mhm.
your credit, it's reported. What's the risk for the business in terms of if you have to essentially put someone out?
So yeah, if you get kicked out, with your business, they'll put it on your business information. So that's one of the great things is you get to get that protection when it's under the business name. So it's not solely under your personal name where you can separate yourself from the business. So you do ever get to say, hey, you didn't pay rent for 3, 4 months. The eviction will go under your your business name. But one of the things that a lot of places are doing, and it's something you want to check when you're signing a lease. One thing I want to let people know when it gets to the game, just read the lease, read the agreement. That way you know what you're signing. Don't just sign it. What they put into these locations, most of these rentals, is that they will allow you, if you do decide that you want to break the lease, you'll just pay 2 months rent and you could just walk away from it and it won't go on your personal credit or your business name, business credit, right? So that's one thing that you probably want to check off when you're doing your lease, that hey, if anything does happen, let's say you decide you want to walk away from the game in the industry, you just pay that. Some places make it 1 month, some make it 2 months.
Mhm.
You just pay that 2 months, and that way. And the reason why some of them do that is because it's not easy doing eviction, right? It
Right,
takes time to get you evicted. So like, you know what? Well, hey, if you want to leave, just pay us this, and you out, take your stuff, and they can re-rent it to somebody else. So
right,
once you understand that, you kind of know, okay, this is what I want in the agreement, and you can always add get addendums added if they allow it. So that way you're just protecting yourself, right? So if anything does happen, if the worst happens, you decide, hey, I need to get out the game. You can walk away and not get hit with a lot of fees and damages.
right. Totally. Okay. Wow, this is good. So if it's under the business, I would assume that someone would want to go the route of getting business funding to pay for these units, right? Because you have to furnish it. So what does that process look like for someone? Do they set up their business, completely get some business funding, and then go all in? Like, what's my seed money? How much do I need to actually get this thing off the road, off the ground?
Yeah, yeah, 100. That's a great question. So, number one, what you want to do is obviously you want to begin to set up your structure. So, if you want to get into the game, right? Let's say Stizzle, you want to get into the game. Number one, you want to get your LLC, get your EIN number, get a virtual address for your business, get a DUNS number, begin to build up your, make sure your personal credit is on point. I recommend having a 680 and above. So that way you can apply for business credit as well. So, you can apply with like Truist, credit unions, and let's say you get up to $150,000 in capital, which is very simple to do. If you have a 700 credit score, you got your LLC, you can get up to $100,000 in business credit cards like this. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can use OPM, use the bank money to invest into these properties, right? So you're not using none of your own personal money to be able to get the unit, get it furnished. And now some locations become short-term rentals is becoming very popular. You
Mm-hmm.
have like some stores and industries that also will allow you to have a business store credit to purchase furniture, like Wayfair. Wayfair is one of them, right? Wayfair will allow you to be able to get a business line of credit with Capital One. They're partnering with them, and you can use the line of credit to purchase properties. Right, not properties, but purchase the furniture.
Furniture,
Now
right?
you're not using
Yes,
your money. So now
right,
basically you just use the game like, okay, bet, well, I got my LLC, I got the business credit, I know I'm gonna get my locations, I'm gonna get it furnished. You're not using none of your money. So all you're doing is using the right information, putting into a vehicle, borrow the bank money, invest it,
Mhm.
make a profit, pay them back, and you keep the difference. Now you basically making money by using somebody else's money. That's the game. So if
That's
you
the
have the, I tell you, if you had a 700 credit score and you're not making six figures plus with it, you behind the eight ball. What are we doing? You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Seriously, yeah, that's a
And then
major
another
achievement.
one that allow business credit is IKEA. IKEA just allow business credit where you could purchase items as
Right.
well through your business.
And IKEA is relatively inexpensive too, so
Yeah.
you might not be able to move that bed from one unit to the next because once you take it apart, it don't go back the same
No,
way.
I'm about to say I know. It'll go back the same way.
Learn that about IKEA.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so your mentees, tell me a little bit about your community, what you're teaching in the community, and how we can get in touch with you and learn some more about this game. Because man, this is incredible.
No, 100, 100. So yeah, so what we're giving our mentees is basically step by step on how to get into the game, right? And what I always tell people is not just the industry. It's a business, the industry itself, right? It's a vehicle, but you want to be able to have a structure and a foundation. So that starts with setting yourself up properly as a business, which making sure you have a virtual address, your business name, your EIN number, and you're building up your personal credit. And most people always mention, hey, build up net 30s. That take a long time. You do want to use some net 30s for your unit, like quails and things like that. But you want to build up your personal credit and build yourself up the right way. So once you have the personal credit, now we show them how to apply for business credit up to $250,000 in business line of credit and business credit cards. Now how to effectively use the OPM to acquire units, how to search it, and then how to scale it to do multiple 6 to 7 figures passively. Because it's all about passive income now. So we're showing them how to generate an extra $5,000 to $10,000 monthly passive, right? Just by running the play with this game. And then how to build true passive and residual income, leveraging Airbnb, leveraging somebody else's property, leveraging, someone a property that somebody else owned, and you can make money on their property without you having to buy a property.
Right.
And then now they have the game of how to build up their business structure, how to apply for business funding, and then how to build the Airbnb business, scale it to multiple 6 and 7 figures, build passive income with it, and how to create systems, because all about systems, right? We want to show everyone how to have it on autopilot where you don't always have to be hands-on in your business. See, I'm out of time right now, right? And my businesses in Tampa are still running without me. I'm not there, and I'm still getting deposits. I'm going to be getting deposits throughout the week. This is what we show our mentees, so that way now they can have passive income. And the other thing what I'm teaching my mentees is invest into different things that you want to do as well too. Don't just have one stream of income coming in. So maybe you could invest into maybe buying a property, you're owning an asset. So some of our mentees are doing, one of our mentees, she's buying an apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? So she's taking a cash flow, she's taking a game that she learned from us, and she's buying an apartment complex, right?
Oh.
So we're showing them how to invest into different things as well too, because when you have the cash, the credit is nothing that you can't do here in America, right? So if you're not winning, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much information out here and resources, but people just have to learn how to execute. Make it happen. So if people want to get in touch with me, you guys could follow me on Instagram at Mr. Eugene06. What I want to do for the people is we do a free masterclass where we give you the game about Airbnb, how to locate units and things like that. So if you guys want to tune into that, you can follow me at my Instagram page, and you can tap into the free masterclass. We do it every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, we'll make sure we put that in the description. But before y'all get anything for free, right? Because the cost of coming with this is the cost of your mindset. So for your mentees or someone who's looking to get into the program, what are the top 3 qualities that you look for in a mentee that you know is going to be successful and take the imperfect action to get to the next step? Like, what does that person look like for you?
Man, that person like that, for me, you got to be coachable. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not coachable, it's like I can give you all again, I can give you everything. If you're not coachable, it's not going to work. So you got to be coachable. You know what I'm saying? The other thing what I look for is you got to be hungry. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not hungry for success, you're not hungry to win, you're not going to win. You're not going to do the work.
Right.
You're not going to do the work. And the other thing I look for is commitment. Are you going to be committed? Because a lot of times, because what happens is people get into any industry, right? And they jump around to different things because they're not committed. Yep. They're not locked in for a period of time. So if you're not going to be committed, you're not going to be hungry, you're not coachable, then hey, we're not looking for you. But if you have those qualities, these are the type of individuals that's definitely going to win in the industry, right? Because you got the commitment, you got the hunger, and then you're coachable. And nothing you can't do, because even you look at LeBron James right now, right? He have the most points record in the NBA. Even he had a coach. Even he is coachable. He's winning. Right. So you got to have mentality.
Wow. Y'all heard it here first from Mr. Eugene. Be coachable, be hungry, be committed. Know that if you got a 680 or higher 700 credit score, you can make things happen. It's about taking the imperfect action, figuring out going all in. Because what he mentioned earlier in the beginning, and I hope y'all didn't miss that part, is he studied the game. Like, you have to study the game. You can't just pay for the mentorship or pay for the coach or pay for the ebook and not take action on it. He studied the game, but took immediate action and went right out there and started to apply the information that he learned. So that's super dope, man. You got me hyped up. Like, wait a minute, I'm about to be fearless out here and go figure out what's on.
I love it. Gotta be fearless. But one thing, and I love the show. And I think a lot of people mess up on it at this, and I want to leave you guys with this is, you don't got to be perfect, y'all. You're going to make some mistakes along the way. That's part of it. It's part of the journey, part of the process. That's why I love the name of the show, Imperfect Action. See, a lot of what we do is everything got to be perfect before we take action, before we even take a first step. Ain't going to be perfect. Even the most successful, wealthy people that people look up to today, like Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, or these top individuals, They all make mistakes to this day. But guess what? They still making it happen. So don't be perfect. Go out there and making perfect mistakes. Go out there and win. Do the work anyways. Take action. And I promise you, you will be at the top, man. You will have success. Don't look for perfect, man. Let's take action. The action will get the results.
I love it. And I gotta say before we head out, because I was supposed to start my intro this way, and it escaped me because I'm from Boston, so I was gonna hit you with the sac passe.
Nabule.
There you go. Listen, this is another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. We talk about short-term rentals with Eugene. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at Mr. Eugene06. Tap into his information on his coaching program. His mentees are killing it in the game. So kudos to you. Shouts out to you for taking imperfect action in your career and really making it happen for your family, y'all. Be coachable, be hungry, be committed.
Let's go.
All right, we'll see y'all in the next episode.